guys up front, but with Jamal Jarrett specifically, what have you seen development-wise for a guy who hasn't played a whole lot of college snaps, but just looks the part, obviously?
Yeah, I think there's we've been really pleased with the effort that he plays with, the intensity. There's a lot of intensity on the practice field, and he trained that way this winter. I think now, more than anything, it's just, one, getting used to the system, but I think fundamentally there's a lot that we wanted to clean up there. And even just now, halfway through spring, or almost halfway, you could see that. He's starting to play lower, starting to play out of his hips more, starting to use his hands better, just everything with the guys improving. And when the fundamentals get better, when you've got a talent like that, you start to see some of the results behind it. So he's doing a great job. Obviously, Henne and Nua and Skylar Jones, our entire group there, doing a really good job with him.
What have you seen from the tight ends group so far?
You guys were in sync there.
I know. We practiced. What have you seen from the tight ends group so far this spring?
Yeah, it's a deeper, certainly more talented group than what we've had. They've with a couple of the receivers being down right now, had a pretty active role in terms of just how much we've used them this spring, which has been great. They've had a lot of opportunities to make plays, and they're doing a nice job of it. So yeah, it's just, you feel their presence probably more on the practice field than you ever have because of numbers and how we're using them and the plays that they're making. So I think we've got some really good competitive depth. We've got some good position battles going on in there. We've got some differing skill sets that'll be kind of fun to see how they all evolve and how we use them.
How about a right tackle, Tobias and Justin? What have you seen from those two?
Well, they're both doing some really good things this spring. I think Tobias, his versatility is really important for us going forward. He's Tobias has established himself as one of our best offensive linemen. That's happened this spring, and Justin's playing very well. And so some of that'll be how the battles shake out at the other positions as well. But we feel like the way those two guys are playing right now, you feel like there's two starters there.
Back to the tight ends, you're talking about the different body types. Walter Matthews, 6'7", 270. Can you talk about what he brings to the table? Because that's a unique individual.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like an offensive tackle type body, but the athleticism and all that he brings are pretty exciting. He improved a lot throughout kind of last year with that redshirt year. He's learned a lot. He's gotten a lot stronger learning our offense. That position's got to do so much, and so just settling into all those different roles. But he can catch the ball. He's kind of tough to bring down because of how big he is, and obviously all the stuff in the run game and pass pro and all that. In some ways, he's almost like having a sixth offensive lineman out there at times. So he's got some real ability. I certainly foresee him having a role, and I think the more that he can learn and grow, the more consistency he can find, then the role's got a chance to grow, because you can't teach some of the things that he brings to the table.
Coach, on the theme of tight ends today, Coach Savage, how's it been like working with him in his first year here?
He's done a great job. He has. That's not an easy position to come in here and coach. Both working with our inside receivers and our tight ends, and he's acclimated to the staff well. He and Coach Simmons are working really well together. That group, along with Spencer Jones, has done a really good job helping bring those guys along, because there's definitely some crossover. There's times where Coach Savage is coaching outside guys, and times where Coach Simmons is coaching inside guys, or we're all coaching tight ends. It kind of, the way we do it, there's a lot of carryover there, and so he's meshed well. He's a good recruiter that's got great connections and great relationships in this area, which is obviously very, very important to us. And he's brought a lot of energy and a lot of expertise to the group.
With the director of analytics being announced last week, what role will that hire play? How will that help the program?
Yeah, that one's going to be a little bit more involved in the personnel, kind of roster management, recruiting side. We have some folks that do some work for us analytics-wise in terms of football and game analytics and opponent studies and kind of all of that, which are pretty mainstream right now in college football. But this was part of the vision when Chad and I first talked about him coming there, of continuing to build out that piece of it, because there's certainly an analytical piece and viewpoint that you can gain when you're constructing a roster. And so having the people that can help execute that vision are important, and this was another big step in that direction.
You're halfway through spring camp, essentially. Less questions, more questions?
Yeah, probably. We're moving in a good direction. The team's progressing. We're starting to add some situational work, which is a little bit later than what we've typically done, just because we're not trying to hustle along for a scrimmage to get in before the spring game. That's gonna all of that has shifted where it's allowed us to maybe go even a little bit more patiently through the installs. So we're starting to get in some situational work. We're starting to get in some move the ball, where it kind of feels more like real football instead of just scripted first downs or second downs. So we'll continue to learn more there. But that team's progressing, and so far it's been a very solid first half of camp.
You have a transfer portal window coming up. Are you able to share any thoughts on positions or spots that you need to fill?
Yeah, still, certainly some of it still remains to be seen. I think there's some of the, obvious positions, that we're a little bit thin that we may look at. Linebacker is one of those that we may look at. Certainly kind of depending on how spring plays out and some of these other position battles and all that, that'll determine the most. But I don't think it'll be a huge, I don't think we'll be like incredibly active during that. My gut is we'll end up having, a handful of positions that we're going to look at it. If we feel like somebody fits, and we may pursue them. But maybe a little bit different than other years. I don't feel like sitting out here that we're missing a whole lot. Just got to keep developing what we have, and then make sure that we've got enough depth to make the run that we expect to make.
What did it mean to get the Carlos back? And then it seems like the whole team's kind of embraced his son this last year. Has that been unique for you? And how did you kind of reach your comfort level with him being around so much?
It happened. The stuff with Lil D happened kind of just naturally. He was just out here in practice a lot, and he became like everybody's adopted son almost. That's maybe the best way to say it. He's awesome. He runs around. Every player knows him. Every staff member knows him. He was at a lot of our Thursday practices last year, and so we got a chance to be around, kind of watch him grow up. And he's great. And everybody loves him. Everybody knows him. Like, he comes in, every player knows his name. He's just kind of one of the guys now. So that's definitely a bonus in getting Carlos back. I'm glad that it worked out. He brought a lot to our team last year in terms of, he made some big plays for us, but then also just he's got a great demeanor, vibe, kind of energy about him that's infectious. And so to get that back, and I think for him a chance to grow, get a second year in the defense, continue to develop under Coach Lynn and Coach Belk and Coach Reed, it just made all the sense in the world. So it was a win-win, and Lil D certainly was a great bonus to have him around for a little bit longer.
Let's do one more.
What have you seen from guys who have an opportunity to play this year, like a Christian Pierce, a Braylon Shelby playing a bigger role? Just guys, who's impressed you out of those?
Yeah, Pierce has been really good. He's been really good, which we weren't shocked. He played more special teams reps last year than any player on the team. Just, you could tell we're starting to settle in defensively kind of there at the end. So we expected it, and I think that's happening right now. Yeah, Shelby's done a nice job. Zoe Cowan has had a really nice spring camp up to this point. One of the guys, along with Tobias, that we actually pointed out to the team in the team meeting yesterday, is two guys that are just, you kind of feel really taking a jump right now. So I've been real proud of their development. There's a lot. There's a lot of guys that are, I think, better football players than they were last fall, and you already see that this spring with a lot of room to build.
Thank you, Coach.